Good afternoon and welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Frank Granito alongside Kevin Coleman in studio this afternoon as we look back on some action from yesterday's state tournament. Girls soccer championships are officially underway. We've also got All-FCIAC squads being named in a couple of these fall sports, Kevin. We've got some fun opinions we're going to be sharing on those as well.
We do, and a lot of these names are well-deserved, but there are some ones that I think we can agree on were left off.
It's an interesting mix across the board, and we'll get to that later on in the show. For now, let's dive right into it because we are going to be live at Darien High School tomorrow afternoon for round 2 of the Class L Girls Soccer Championships. We're going to be seeing number 8 Darien, number 9 Shelton. An exciting matchup heading into this one, Kev. Both teams with impressive performances in the first round. Darien knocks off Danbury yesterday 2-0. Shelton a 3-0 win over South Windsor. We know how good the defenses are, but it's another game and another shutout for Chrissy Fiore and that Darien Blue Wave defense.
It is. You see that defense stepping up again, and they're going up against a Shelton team that had an impressive year in the SEC. They lost in the semifinals to Hand in overtime 3-2. That was a crushing loss in the semifinals. They moved on from that, and that was a nice win against South Windsor. This is a talented team that they beat in the first round. Now, these two teams square off. These are the reason why they're number 8 and 9, and I like how they're meeting up with each other. In the second round here, these are two very similar teams you're going to see. Obviously, Darien playing that 4-5-1 with Katie Ramsey sitting as a lone striker up top. We know how fast she is. She's been struggling with injuries all year, so we'll see. Looks like she's been getting a lot healthier as the year has gone down, especially that tough loss to Richfield in the quarterfinals and the FCIAC tournament was a gut-wrenching one, I think, for a little bit for Darien, but they've adjusted nicely. They had some time off. They adjusted, got ready for the state tournament. Now they're getting ready to make a little bit of a run here.
Well, the big thing for me there, you talk about some of the injuries that have plagued Darien during the year. They've been hurt at times. I think that week off did the Wave a lot of good. It allows Darien a little bit extra rest. We know that their back line is as capable and as strong as anyone in the state, not only the conference. I think they can play toe-to-toe defensively with any offense that's out there. That includes Suffield. That includes Newtown, Enfield. I like their chances defensively. The issue is going to be obviously scoring goals. I think it gives them some time off. They put up 2 on a Danbury team who was familiar with them. Now they go out of conference. It'll be interesting to see how they respond against the SEC opponent.
I agree. A win like that against Danbury, Danbury got to give them some love because getting into the tournament was a big success this year. I think that program takes a step forward, making their way into the state tournament. For Darien, that's a confidence booster. You get some goals behind the net, and really you go into the second round game against a good Shelton team that is also good defensively. They got a good keeper as well. This is a team that is a lot physical too. And I think for Darien, they've seen some physical teams in the FCIAC, but they haven't really gotten a taste of the out-of-conference physical play. And Shelton's always been known, also on the boys' side, to be a much more physical team. They have some players who have some good finesse as well, some good ball skills, and they're fast just like Darien is, but they're a lot physical in the center of the field. So can Darien out-hustle them to the 50-50 balls? And if they do that, then I think Darien has a good chance.
That's what I was going to say. 50-50 balls are going to be so important in this game. I think ultimately they'll decide the difference in that one. You look at this now, do you see this being a 1-0 game, potentially going to overtime, potentially PKs, where the defenses are just going to cancel each other out? Both goalies will carry the weight through at least regulation, and then once you get into overtime, it truly becomes a crapshoot in this one.
I certainly think so. I think this game could certainly be 0-0 for the two halves and see ourselves into the overtime, the extra time period, where maybe a team like Darien with Katie Ramsey is able to tuck one in. Then it may go to PKs as well, and that's going to be the tough part because at that point you have two goalies who have been outstanding all year, and it's come down to the point where it's basically them against someone else in the PK box, going up one-on-one. It's going to be difficult for both sides, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a tough loss for either team. But these defenses and these teams are very defensive-minded, and I think there's a good opportunity that both teams could go into extra time without finding a goal in the back of the net. So we could see that tomorrow. Now, Darien has shown glimpses of them, being able to break through that back four, play some through balls in, and they're able to stretch that back four at times. Saw it a little bit against Richfield, who we know is so good defensively. They were able to outstretch the Tigers' defense a couple times at Tiger Hollow, but at the end of the day, the Tigers shut down the door. Can Shelton do the same thing? because Darien has talent and speed up front that if they're able to, get that through ball and get an opportunity, they can score on chances that are in the 18-yard box. And I'd like to think Darien has an opportunity to score now after scoring 2 goals in the first round. We'll see what happens here.
X factor for you in this game on the Darien side. Who needs to step up and be the most meaningful player if the Blue Wave are going to advance on to the quarterfinals?
It's Katie Ramsey. I think you look throughout this roster, and she's been the vocal point all season long. I'd really like to see her step up. This is her moment now in this tournament. If she wants to take this Darien Blue Wave team to the quarterfinals, maybe even the semifinals, she needs to come up big in this game against a Shelton team that is going to be very talented, especially their back four. I think Katie Ramsey needs to step up. We know how talented she is. She's the X factor. She has to put one behind the net.
I was going to go Emily D'Annunzio, actually.
She's got speed.
I think she plays really well in that midfield. She's going to be heavily involved in the back, on the back line defensively. She's going to be a key factor in being able to switch the field and set things up through the transition game. I think her facilitating the offense from that back half and allowing players like Ramsey to get into space with opportunities. I think D'Annunzio can play a huge role in the swing game and the transition for both teams here.
You're absolutely right. She plays so well in that center defensive mid. She's also, not afraid to move upfield and create some chances up front. But Charlotte Harmon as well, I think you look at in the back four. I really liked how she played. Listen, that game against Ridgefield, that was a world-class finish. You have to tip your cap if you're a defender and you're a keeper like that. That was a great finish for the Ridgefield Tigers, and I think Charlotte Harmon played so well in that right center back position against the Tigers and throughout the season for the Blue Wave. So she needs to continue her great streak throughout this season. If she can have another big game here in the second round, I think there's a good chance Darien has an opportunity to go home a winner. Game
is live at 2 o'clock tomorrow. You can see it right here on the HA Network. Kevin and I'll be on the air from Darien at 1:45. Let's look at some of the other matchups yesterday. Big win for Fairfield Ludlow here, Kevin. Number 20 seed, a double overtime, 1-0 upset of number 13 Conard. They now move on and face the Wreckers. Before we talk about the daunting task ahead of the Falcons, impressive win from the girls yesterday.
Impressive considering, last couple of weeks, a little bit of controversy with this Ludlow team. So that's a nice bounce-back win after being knocked out of the FCIAC tournament. Against Conard, this is a talented 13 seed, able to beat them in double overtime. It's massive for this girls program. Now they go up against a Staples team. Not going to be easy, but they have the back four. This is a good team. This is a good Falcon team. I think that they're going to give Staples a run for their money.
You talk about the controversy. This is what becomes interesting surrounding all these storylines now. Ludlow eliminated from the FCIAC tournament on the last day of the regular season. Lost a couple players to ejection after a fight broke out against Wilton. Wilton went on to play Staples first round without 2 of their best players. Ludlow is now essentially playing in the first round of the FCIAC tournament a week later with their entire roster.
Right, and you know what? Wilton actually played Staples pretty well in that first round game in the FCIACs. I know Staples came away with the win, but I thought Wilton played really well considering they were missing 2 of their best players. And you're right, Ludlow was able to get back their key players who got suspended. I think they're well rested. This is a team that has been able to take some time off a little bit, recollect themselves, take a deep breath, and focus on the state tournament. Now they go up against the 1 seed in the FCIAC and the 4 seed here in the Class AA tournament.
Talk about time off, recollecting yourself. Staples coming off that disappointing loss in the FCIAC championship to St. Joe's, recouped with the bye. Now they bounce right back, an FCIAC foe waiting for them. If they win, there's going to be another FCIAC foe waiting ahead. How do you feel about the Wreckers heading into this game, Kevin?
My only worry is they get that first round bye. They cannot come out flat. Plain and simple. They cannot come out slow. They need to start real fast, start taking shots on goal, even if it's from outside the 18. You have to set the tone early. I've seen so many teams that lose in the FCIAC final and get that first round bye. What happens in the first 15 to 20 minutes in that first half of that game, the second round game? They're flat. The other team has so many opportunities. Maybe even they tuck one in. So if Ludlow can take advantage of that, if Staples is able to start slow, that's something to keep an eye on. But for Staples, you fully expect them to bounce back. This is a team that lost 1-0. I thought they played great. There were some chances for them to score in the final. Didn't happen for them. St. Joe's went home with the win. This is a good Staples team. They just cannot come out flat in the first 15 to 20 minutes.
That covers the top half of the bracket. We're going to step aside here quickly. When we get back, we'll keep working through yesterday's games. Look at the bottom half of the bracket. We got a couple more All-FCIAC matchups coming up. That's next on Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
New Canaan Foreign Car. Yes, New Canaan Foreign Car has been servicing all makes of foreign cars for over 50 years. We also buy, sell, and consign cars too. We can help you with all your automotive needs from service to sales. Call us at 203-966-2681. New Canaan.
At Portofino Restaurant and Wine Bar in Bethel, fresh and simple food is our concept. Owned and operated by brothers Rocco and Louie, Portofino has a distinct and diverse food and drink menu. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Come join us for live local music on Tuesdays and Sundays, Wednesday nights for mouthwatering prime rib, and every Thursday night is ladies' night. Planning a party? All our catering menus are personalized to suit your event and your budget. Join us at the Dolan Plaza, 213 Greenwood Ave, Bethel, and call us at 203-797-8131. Like us on Facebook.
Back on the HAN Network, Frank Granito, Kevin Coleman, breaking down the first round of play in the girls' double L tournament. Worth mentioning, Kevin, in Class L, St. Joe's a 5-0 win yesterday over Windsor, so the Cadets moving on there. Business as usual. We expect St. Joe's to roll through the quarterfinals realistically with relative ease. Then they might be challenged a little bit, but it's a very talented team, a very powerful team, and it's bizarre how they almost don't belong in Class L, but really they're reaching school size-wise, even being down there.
I fully expect this team to win. They're going to the final.
Right.
They're playing some of the best soccer this team's played all season long. It's down the stretch, especially at this time. When you're playing this well with a roster that is so deep and has so many talented players on it, and you even have freshmen contributing as well. It's something, got to add that in there as well. Maddie Fry, the goal that she scored in the FCIAC final was world class, and the fact that you have freshmen and sophomores stepping up on a varsity team like this in a state tournament is, you have to be feeling pretty good if you're St. Joe's right now. So I fully expect them to make it to the final. From that point on, it could be a little challenging, but I fully expect the St. Joe's team to do some work here in Class L.
Let's get back to Class L. We talked about the winner of Staples and Ludlow playing an FCIAC opponent in the quarterfinals. That's because Fairfield Ward, coming off a bye, will take on Trumbull tomorrow. Now the Eagles defeating West Haven 3-1. Trumbull Ward, Kevin, this is an interesting matchup in that 5-12 game.
It is. I think Ward, they've played great all season long. This has been a talented team. They just had a little difficulty finding the back of the net in a couple games, and this is a good team with some very talented players. Now Trumbull, I think they've had a great season for the Eagles from the girls' side. Just like the boys' team, a lot of question marks on what this team was going to do this year. I thought they played great. They do so well in the FCIAC, and now they get a chance to be the 12th seed in the state tournament. That's a good year for Trumbull, and this is going to be another one of those 1-0 games, I believe. This is going to be a much closer matchup. The 5-12. I think people have to forget about the seedings here, because this is a Trumbull team that really matches up well with Fairfield Ward.
Really, in any tournament, if you get an FCIAC matchup, I think you throw the seeds away. It's just pure emotions. One team might be favored, but really you know each other so well, you could give the lower seed just as much of a chance versus the higher seed. This next game, you know, it's going to hurt me to talk about it, Kev, but McMahon falling 2-1 to Cheshire in 2 overtimes. Same McMahon team I picked to upset Enfield in the next round. That was a tough one to swallow, a tough loss there. This is a McMahon program that's doing really, really well. They're back on the rise. They were in the FCIAC tournament for the first time in a while this past year. So they're going to be okay. They're going to get there. They're going to keep having players come up. Ortolano will be back next year and will help contribute again.
Peyton McNamara.
Yep. It's just that's a tough loss yesterday, so keep your heads up, Senators.
It is. Looking at, you know, obviously the weather last night just didn't help their cause, or either Cheshire as well. That was a tough night to play some soccer because on a turf field like that, the surface becomes a little difficult to play when you got heavy rain coming down. And the second goal that was scored by Cheshire in overtime off a set piece, and keeper had it, dropped out of her hands, and it was almost like an awkward bounce in the 6-yard box that fell out. Cheshire was able to tuck it home right away, and it was a layup, pretty much a finish there, and Cheshire went up 2-1. But you're right, Frank. This is a McMahon team that, you know, for these young players, who there's a lot of them on this team, you know, they learn from this, and I think you move on to next year. This is going to be a very talented McMahon team next year, and Peyton McNamara, this is a sophomore who I thought had a really nice standout year, getting some looks for the Ohio State Buckeyes there, my friend. She's getting some looks from the Bucks. What do you guys say about that?
Ridgefield is coming off of a bye. They'll take on number 10 Southington in the second round of this tournament. We expect Ridgefield to be able to handle that opponent. Then they would be facing potentially Enfield or Cheshire. Congratulations, Peyton, on a great season. Good luck with the college process. If you do go to Ohio State, you know, not going to work out too well. Between us, go blue. Then you've got Wilton. Big upset for the Warriors, 2-0 over NFA. They've got their full roster back. Now they get number 3 Newtown. Just speaking with Dave Stewart of the New Canaan Advertiser. Stewart feeling pretty good. He thinks that the Warriors could have a potential chance here to make their way to the semifinals and possibly even sneak in to the championship. A very fortunate draw on this side of the bracket for the Warriors.
It is, and another, you know, we look at what happened with Ludlow. Wilton gets their players back for the second round here, and that's a nice win, 2-0 against NFA. This is not going to be an easy opponent with Newtown. Not an easy place to play either. This is going to be a tough matchup for them tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and against a Newtown team that is always strong on the girls' side for girls' soccer. And for Wilton, they're a lot better than their seeding shows, number 19. I think you got to give them a chance, but the winner of the Glastonbury-Middletown game, which if Wilton's able to win, get to the quarterfinals, not going to be easy too, because I fully expect Glastonbury to take care of business against Middletown, and Glastonbury on the boys and girls side always so dominant.
So good. So those are all the matchups. Again, we are at Darien tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock start. The Wave hosting the Shelton Gales. Kevin and I are on the air at 1:45. We're going to take one more break. When we get back, we've got some All-FCIAC awards that have been handed out. Kevin and I have some tough opinions on the decision process. We'll talk about that next on Nutmeg Sports.
We know it's your busy season, and that's why Walter Stewart's Market is here to make things easy by offering the best of autumn under one roof. Walter Stewart's Market is your local one-stop fall shop. There are so many seasonal flavors to savor, and Stewart's has them all, from Blue Jay Orchard's local cider donuts to Vermont Farmstead cheddar and all of your favorite varieties of local apples and pears. Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street, New Canaan, and find us at stewartsmarket.com.
Want a new experience in car buying? No aggravation, no confrontation, just answers to all your questions. Scap Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Car buying the way you want it to be. With one of the largest selections of new 2- and 4-door Jeep Wranglers available, we are Connecticut's Wrangler headquarters. Located in Fairfield, Connecticut, we're easy to get to. Just 2.5 miles off the Merritt Parkway, exit 44 via Route 58 South. Save thousands right now during the Jeep Celebration event and Ram Power Days. Now through October 31st.
At Black Horse Garage, we fulfill all your sports car needs. We specialize in manufacturer-recommended service and aftermarket high-performance parts and installation. We have one of the nation's top storage facilities and offer a high-end collision department that understands your need for detail. Visit blackhorsegarage.com for more.
The Kitchen Center offers quality cabinetry and affordable pricing. Visit our showroom for a free consultation with our professional design staff. For all your other home improvement needs, visit Northeast Building Supply, our full-service lumberyard and window showroom. The Kitchen Center, a division of Northeast Building Supply, 1470 Barnum Avenue, Bridgeport.
Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
We're back. Nutmeg Sports, Frank Kevin, as we are looking at the fall season All-FCIAC nominees. We want to offer congratulations, first of all, to all of the athletes that were named to one of the All-FCIAC teams, whether it was first, second, east, west, honorable mention. They are all very deserving, and it's been a lot of fun this season. I think we've seen a lot of great competition across the board, top to bottom in this conference, even in soccer, as much as it kills me to say that, Kev. But there are some issues that I think do need to be addressed. And before we get to that, I want to start with the volleyball, because in my opinion, girls volleyball right now is one of the few sports that is doing their all-conference selections right. Obviously, swimming, cross-country, there was one other sport as well, wrestling, are based on performance. The first team for All-FCIAC cross-country is the top 15 runners that finished in the FCIAC tournament. Mm-hmm. You finish that race in the top 15, you are now an All-FCIAC runner. I think that's extremely fair. It might be unfortunate or disappointing that if you have a bad race, you're going to miss out on that title, but it adds to the pressure and makes that honor that much more prestigious.
Right.
Girls volleyball right now, you have got 8 players to a team, which I am totally fine with. 6 players on the court, and you allow 1 or 2 extra girls. Andrea O'Connor, Caroline Colonel, Carson Alstead, Nicole Wood, Bridget Fatsy, Taylor Morton, Vanessa Ang, and Allie Nielsen. All extremely deserving. We had the conversation off the air. Taylor Morton, maybe that one outlier there. She was injured a lot of the year. Mm-hmm. McMahon missing out on the FCIAC tournament. But what Taylor Morton meant to that team, what she did for that team, I have no problem with it. Okay? So you've now got your second team, your third team, all 8. Honorable mention. Speaking with Bill Bloxham this morning of the Trumbull Times, we were a little concerned. Maggie Egan is really, at best, the 25th best player in this conference. That seems a little low, you know. But we caught a small chunk of her portion of the year. All right? And now this is where I'll bring you in, because we've got the girls' awards here. 22 girls made the first team. How? That's 22 girls. That's 2 full teams.
That's too many.
On the first team.
It's too many. I agree. It's too many.
This is the problem. All right. There you go, Steve. This is the problem, okay? I got no issue if we want to make 40 people honorable mention at the end of it, and we're keeping the inclusivity factor of everyone gets a trophy in today's world. So be it. That is fine. But it is taking away from the best players in this conference the meaning of being named an All-FCIAC player. There should be 14 girls at most who are named as a first-team All-Conference player. And you know what? Maybe that's going to hurt some people's feelings, and maybe that's an issue now. But the whole reason we're playing sports, the whole reason we're including ourselves in these competitions is to be the best. Naming 22 people to the first team in a sport that plays 10 people at a time. Well,
I'll tell you this, Frank. So what they should do and what they do around soccer is for each season, they do the best starting 11, and they pick it from each team. That's what they should do.
Yes.
You look at any Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, MLS, they all have their starting 11 at the end of the year, and that's what they should do. 22 is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
It is. It's too many, and I'm not saying that you can't, and I keep cutting you off, and I'm sorry, Kevin.
Okay.
You know I'm a little... I've been sitting on this since 9 o'clock this morning, and it's been bothering me since 9:15. You're exactly right. It should be 11 players. There should be a player for each position on the field. Who was the best player at that position? Okay? And then allow 3 or 4 more spots of girls who played multiple positions, girls that had really, really good years, and you could argue that you should have had 2 strikers, you know? Irigoyen and Sebastian Echeverri of Greenwich and Norwalk this year in the boys both deserve to be named to the first team, in my opinion.
Well, we can't forget JT Ciano.
You and your Ridgefield guys. Let's just say for the
20
sake,
goals, though.
I know. No, but Ciano is going to be a lock 100%.
Yeah.
I agree. Then you've got those two guys who are probably fighting for that same position. I think they both deserve to be there. You've got to have that a utility spot. But 22 is too many. We did this last year. We did the same thing last year when we got to the FCIAC football season. 191 players were named all-conference in football.
That's ridiculous.
There are 17 schools in the conference. That's over 11 players per school. There are only 11 players on a football field at a time. You're now saying that more than all of your starters on one side of the ball are qualified to be an All-FCIAC selection. And that's just, it's bad in the sense of what it's teaching these kids, that participation is...
I was about to say.
Just participating should be rewarded, and that's not the case, but it's diminishing the accomplishments of some of the top-tier players. You know, look at it this way. Gavin Muir, 100% should be named probably the first team All-FCIAC quarterback this year. That's not a knock against what a player like Lacona at West Hill has done. But do we think A.J. Lacona, even though he has led West Hill to a 7-win season potentially for the first time in a long time, does that make him on par with what Gavin Muir has done this year?
No, not at all.
You have to look at the numbers at a certain point in time. The same way that when people start to determine, you know, all right, here's a real-world scenario now. In the MLB, you've got the MVP voting going on here.
Right.
Okay? If you took Jose Altuve off of the Houston Astros, and I think Jose Altuve deserves to win the MVP award. You take Jose Altuve off the Houston Astros, what kind of success does that team have? They're probably still going to be very, very good, right?
Right. They'll definitely win the West and then make the playoffs, yeah.
Okay. Aaron Judge removed from the Yankees roster this year. Probably not as successful.
Right.
Okay. You take a guy like Gavin Muir off of the Greenwich Cardinals roster, I got a feeling there's someone they can plug in there and there's enough help around them that Greenwich can be maybe not this successful, but is going to be very competitive, probably a state tournament team.
Right.
A.J. Lacona is an MVP kind of guy in the sense that how important he is to that West Hill team. Saquon Kelly, what he's doing in the backfield there. You know, so, because at the end of the year, I got news. I think Lacona is going to be named first team All-FCIAC. I disagree with that. You got to compare him then with Jack Joyce as well. What are you going to do with that young man? He's a senior. Drew Pine, the sophomore. Now he's in his second year. Does he automatically garner that recognition that because he hasn't had a great year? At what point in time are we just saying, oh, and I know it's coaches suggesting names and who's going to fill out for who so you can get your guys nominated.
Yes.
I understand how the process works, but at what point in time do we start to actually put a little meaning into these postseason awards?
It's ridiculous.
That's all. That's it. That's all there is to it.
And it goes back to, I think right now we live in a world where it's all about participation trophies.
It is, and
it's sad because us growing up as kids, we were either given a trophy or we were stripped of a trophy.
Okay.
And now at this point, everyone seems to be getting. Look at soccer, for example. We cannot have these co-champions anymore. Coaches are frustrated with it. Players are frustrated with it. Look at last year. That was an awkward ending to a championship game. Both teams should have been happy, but both teams went home disappointed because they're both sharing the fact that they're champions with another school. It has to stop, and the fact that the first team for girls soccer is 22 players, it's too much, and it has to go to. I really like the idea of having it go to the starting 11. Have it kind of be what the professional level is.
Exactly.
Have it a starting 11. Make these girls work for it, because if they want to get into the all-conference starting 11, that's how you do it. You're not. It's just not. It's not going to work with 22 girls.
That's exactly what it is. All right. Here's our uneducated opinion on how we should be doing this. Ready? 11 starters on the first, second. You can even do a third team if you want.
Yeah.
Leave 3 utility positions, and then you can do honorable mention. Don't break it up as East, West. Set a number for honorable mention. But if half of the conference is being named an all-conference player, what are we telling our kids? What are we telling these kids?
Half these girls are playing, half these girls aren't. That's
exactly it.
If you're putting this team together, go up against, say, the SWC first team. Half these girls aren't playing.
No, that's exactly it. Listen, we can go back and forth about this all day long, and I got a feeling we're going to do this again in a month when we talk about the football selections for all conference. So we'll get Dave Stewart on here. He can try to talk me off the ledge a little bit one day. But Congratulations again. It is not a knock on the athletes. They have no control over this process, and they are all, listen, if you were named an all-conference player, you did deserve it. I'm not saying you didn't deserve it. I have an issue with the way we're scripting teams. That falls on the coaches in this conference. But I'm going to shut my mouth before I say anything else. And let's save our voices for girls soccer tomorrow. Right. Round 2 of the Double L Championships. For Kevin Coleman, I'm Frank Granito. We'll see you next time on Nutmeg Sports right here on the ACL Network.